A to the K.
To the K.
To the K. Coming up tonight on the Ringside Report. AEW asked Daniel Bryan not to work an indie show.
AAA forced to cancel a show after Cartel threatened to spill innocent blood.
Jim Ross gives update that skin cancer may lead to an absence from AEW.
Corey Graves may be coming out of retirement.
AEW reportedly had plans to bring in Bray Wyatt.
Malachi Black is set to expand on the House of Black with additional members.
WWE issues a statement on Keith Lee's erroneous claims.
WWE's Walter reportedly open to US move after splitting from his wife.
Is Chelsea Green headed for AEW?
I don't know. Becky Lynch fires back at Charlotte saying there's nothing real about her.
And 2 top AEW talents are reportedly injured following Full Gear. And some breaking news. We're now available on ProWrestlingTees.com. That's right,
Yeah.
ProWrestlingTees.com/A2theK Wrestling. And you can wear our beautiful t-shirts. And just,
You can listen to us, watch us, wear us.
Exactly, you can. I feel like we need to come out with a fragrance now or something. I feel like that's where that was heading.
The smell of A to the K. Smells like whiskey and desperation.
Perfect, I love it. We'll get that bottled right now.
Nice.
So let's kick
Hang
off
on,
with the.
I need to do my line. No, that's coming up. Right fucking now.
Right
Okay,
fucking now. Let's kick off then with the first piece of news this week. So, Daniel Bryan. He has reportedly been asked not to work an indie wrestling event by AEW. So, according to Uncle Dave of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Danielson is free to take indie bookings, and there was a promotion that the American Dragon was interested in working for, but AEW have yet to debut in that market, and so Tony Khan asked Danielson not to work that area on an indie show until AEW have run their first event there. Interesting one, because by all accounts, Tony Khan has given Daniel Bryan permission to go and work Japan. So, is this Japan? And it just means that we're going to get an AEW Japan first before he's allowed to go there? Or is it, I don't know, the UK or something?
There's something a bit unusual about this because obviously a lot of the deal between Bryan and leaving WWE was the fact that they wouldn't let him work where he wanted to work. That sort of conversation broke down. He was always open to staying with them, from what we gather, as long as it was on those sort of terms that he wanted. So to find out that he signed with AEW and they are now restricting him, albeit so far on just this one indie appearance, is surprising to say the least. I think you might be more close with the UK one because I think that is imminent for Khan, and I think that's probably been something. I reckon that because New Japan, I'd be a bit surprised given that we've had Mox and Jericho both work New Japan while working with AEW. So I'd be very surprised at that one. But I think the UK is definitely a market they've not even set their foot in yet. So
yeah, the only other
Jericho can be on tour because they're going to be there anyway. Just saying.
I mean, in like literally a few weeks' time, surely they'd have a longer.
I'm just kidding.
But I mean, they've got Britt Baker and Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, all coming over this week. So who knows? Who the hell knows?
Who knows?
But, yeah, in terms of territories, Japan, as you said, it probably isn't that because they've already got a bit of a relationship. I think the only other one that comes to mind is Mexico, but I'm pretty sure.
Again, I mean, I don't know if it quite counts because I don't know if he was signed with AEW strictly at the time, but we had Andrade doing a match for AAA, didn't he?
Yeah, I think
before he actually signed.
I think obviously FTR are the AAA tag champs at the minute and stuff, aren't they? So there's got to be. But I know that they've never put in a show on in Mexico. But yeah, who knows? But interesting. I wonder where it is, and where they're going to potentially rock up next.
UK. I'll tell you where they're not going to be turning up, Carl. I kid. My next one is a fucking wild one, actually. So AAA has had a one of their shows cancelled. Now, this has come after the cartel has threatened to spill innocent blood. The fuck, right? So apparently, this particular organization, we'll stick with that, like as they refer to themselves, they placed up a. Now, this was covered by Mexico News Daily, which said, "Urgent message: we inform all of the artists who are going to perform in the Metapec Fair not to perform at the venue to avoid spilling of innocent blood, including theirs, due to the actions of that bum, the businessman Mario Garcia. Then they are prohibited from performing. Respect our organization, and we will respect your lives." Familiar. I can't pronounce that last word. Apologies. But that's essentially the banner. Now, that's insane. So apparently we had a band performing in that particular, or they were going to, in that particular arena, or they were set to anyway, attacked by gunfire on Friday, 5th of November, like given when we're recording this. So they're not messing around, and as a result, AAA have actually cancelled their show. So how crazy is that? Like, that's the type of shit you can't hear AEW and WWE doing.
No, yeah, ultimately, they've cancelled it. I feel like they've made obviously the right call to do that. Hopefully,
definitely, you don't want any kind of like craziness like that.
No, so hopefully they all remain safe and it gets resolved soon, so that they can actually, put on a show like they intended at some point.
Maybe a different arena. I don't know if they just have a particular issue with this arena and this particular person. That seems to be the way it reads from the banner. So presumably there are other locations they can use just fine. But yeah, crazy one. You don't often have that kind of news in the wrestling industry. So
no, definitely different. So yeah, interesting. So the next one, bit of a somber one. Obviously, good old JR. We revealed a couple of weeks ago that he's been diagnosed with skin cancer. So he was kind of discussing the whole matter on his podcast, Grilling JR. And he said that he's going to have 22 radiation treatments to try and tackle it. So he basically was quoted as saying, "I don't like dealing with this skin cancer, but that's the hand I've been dealt. The only thing I can do is to get healthy and go through all the procedures to ensure that can happen." On the 22nd of November, the doctor found 2 more places on my back, and he's going to cut those out in one appointment. Then earlier in the day, I'll have gone to my cancer doctor, and they have to build a boot for me to do the radiation accurately, which I am all for. It's 2 different processes. One's my back, which I didn't even know I had. The other one is that big one on my ankle. Ironically, the one on my ankle is healing up real well. You can still see that there's an issue, but it doesn't look as gross or gruesome as I displayed in that picture, which I wish I had not done, quite honestly. I do believe in sharing with the fans, and maybe to a faulting degree, I've got a big month of November. It's going to be an aggressive month. But yeah, he basically just said that he wants to be able to make sure that he can do all his stuff, and basically he's got to put his health first. So it might mean he has to step away, but he should know more after the 22nd of November. Basically, he said he's not worried about being replaced because he works for Tony Khan. It's a different man than what he's worked for in the past. So he's been nothing but amazing, and he's going to make sure that it's all good for him to return as and when he can. So yeah, bit of a somber one, obviously, but obviously.
I said it. I'm gonna say it again. Like, his positivity with such a shit situation is just, it's impressive. To be fair, like, fair play to the man. He's not letting it get him. He's fighting it all the way.
Yeah, he's had a proper tumultuous time over the last few years and stuff. So obviously, wishing him the best from A2theK, and hopefully, he beats that cancer, like a government mule.
Indeed. The next one, and I always struggle to sort of, when we talk about such a somber topic, to move on to other things, but the next one is Corey Graves potentially coming out of retirement. So what sparked this? Well, in brief, what sparked this was a tweet from saying, "I kind of want to wrestle again," which, as a singular line, it's like, okay, I mean, you might want to, but But what's sort of spared this on a little bit, like could he be coming out of retirement, is a lot of people have sort of took that tweet and then they've remembered an interview he did with Edge last year on his podcast After the Bell, in which he was saying about the WWE 24 documentary they did on Edge and obviously what he went through to his road to sort of getting back to the WWE. And he was saying about it being, that it's awesome, and watching it got him sort of inspired. And like he even said that, I live in Pittsburgh, I should go and find that Dr. Maroon, I believe it was. And it just gave him the urge to do it all over again and that sort of thing. So there is like that almost sort of desire there. He's expressed that on the podcast itself. And although that was a year ago, it's made people go, well, has he been doing something? Is he doing something behind the scenes to get himself, fit for action? So this tweet has just made people go, God, are we going to see him back in the ring soon? And we've seen this happen before where, look at Daniel Bryan, where he played an on-screen character, and then they built it into the story where he suddenly took issue with someone and it turned into a match and it was almost a shock return for Bryan. Could we see a similar thing with Corey? Just suddenly comes off announcing to end up back in the ring again. Is that something you'd want to see, Carl?
I mean, to be honest, I never saw much of him as a wrestler. Obviously, it was it back in like
this year? I think he was taken out of it pretty quick. I know he had some time in NXT, but I do think he was taken out of the game pretty quick.
Yeah, it's a really weird scenario because usually they are wrestlers that we've seen before that have then decided to move on to commentary, and then if they make a comeback, it's like, oh yeah, they're back. But this would be like, I don't know, something new in a sense because people won't have really seen him in the ring.
I think because obviously WWE especially caters to casuals, and most people won't even know he was a wrestler.
Well, exactly. But yeah, I mean, who knew winning the 24/7 title would give him that the motivation to get back there doing it. But
it's a dedication, mate. It's 24/7.
24/7. But no, I mean, if he's healthy enough and that's what he wants to do, then absolutely, he needs to. Only got one life, haven't you? So if he can do it and that's what he wants, then
oh yeah, more power to him. And you know what? Like I'll go as far. I know like people will always in the likes of JR or JR and King, or probably for yourself, Carl. Bobby Heenan, Gorilla Monsoon. Yeah. Because I know you'd probably argue with me on the JR King thing. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
But so I'm not saying he's sort of. There's no offense to Corey was saying. I'm not saying he's up there with their caliber, but he's actually been really decent on commentary. To be fair, as a colour commentator, I think he's done a cracking job. So, he's definitely sort of found his talent in that. But you know what? Fuck it. If we can see him return to the ring, let's see what he's got. I think it'd be nice.
Fuck it indeed. So the next one, believe it or not, and it's Uncle Dave saying this, so probably not. But. According to the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, it noted that AEW definitely had a plan in place at one point for Bray Wyatt to join them.
How stable that whole sentence was. He definitely at one point maybe had a plan in place.
So I was told. Excuse. So yeah, according to Dave, he reckons that there was a certain point in time where they definitely had a plan for Bray to show up in AEW, and it's not known why those plans fell through. And it goes on to say that Impact also had an interest in him around this time. So I don't really know what that means. So is he saying that they had both agreed on a plan for Bray Wyatt to rock up in AEW, or are they basically just saying that Tony Khan said if he could get him, this is how I would bring him in?
I feel like it's more close to that. Like Tony being again like that kid with playing with his action figures sometimes has been like, oh, we get Bray Wyatt, I'm going to do this, and everyone's gone, oh, there's a plan in place. It's like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, you must hate that. It's like a regular child trying to find a wrestler and it's out of stock in all the toy stores, and he's just like, Daddy, give me more money, and he's like, I've given you the money, but he doesn't want to be in there. So,
luckily that kid down the road keeps getting rid of all his figures, so it's fine.
Well, yeah, that's true. Savage. But yeah, so yeah, obviously we know that Bray Wyatt is now taking on a film project. So what that means for his wrestling career,
I think it's a red
term.
herring. I'm saying it now. I think this whole film project, and I'm going to concentrate on this for a while. It's bullshit. He turned up somewhere. Mark my words.
I'm going to mark
him. Got the info from Dave himself. He knows.
Oh, fucking hell. Getting the red pen out for that then. But yeah, so interesting. Do you think that Bray was ever, like a sure thing to be in AEW, because I don't. So we'll see.
I mean, it definitely isn't not planned.
Definitely not planned. Not.
Lovely. So, Carl, speaking of AEW, I think we were. So Malachi Black has been interviewed recently, and I'll even try and credit the people who interviewed him. It was the Fulton County Post, apparently. Right, so he was interviewed recently. They were talking to him about the whole House of Black aspect of his current gimmick, if you will. So they basically asking him, is there any plans to expand the House of Black, include additional members, that sort of thing? And to be fair to Alistair, he's given a massive hint here. He said, absolutely, you can expect it. It's not, he did clarify, it's not a decision he can completely make, but it is something that he wants. Even when as far as to say, the idea of House of Black is obviously when you say a house, that means multiple people. So a house is a house until people live in it, was the way he worded it. But he did also say there's no need to rush. So it would seem that this may be building up into some sort of faction, because we don't have enough of them on AEW, so I'm loving it. Loving the idea. So Carl, on top of that massive hint, that doesn't sound like it's going to be imminent, but will be coming, who would you like to see join the House of Black?
Well, I think
the
hint is in there. He said there's no need to rush. I think it's Leo Rush. Call it now.
Madness. He also said no. That's like a reference to Team Hell No. We're going to get Kane and Daniel. Craziness.
What?
Play that game too.
No, I mean, I don't know. To be fair, it's a weird one. I can see it just being somebody who is, well, people who are kind of a bit rookies or whatever at this point, that is going to help them to align them with some kind of faction. But
I mean, it would make a little bit of sense because Malachi's got enough of a name behind him that he could help elevate some newer talent. Like,
yeah, I mean,
it's got to be AEW, so we know that Cody's probably going to end up joining them.
Well, I was going to say it's got to be someone who can obviously toe that line of the mystique and the weird like masks and helmets and darkness and transportation that he does. Yeah,
Matt Hardy, you called it. I like it.
There you go. The Hardley, yeah, Matt Hardy.
Hardley brothers.
The Hardy House of Black. That's what it's going to be. The HHO. No, HHP. Fuck's
Sounds
sake.
pretty cool, actually. Sounds like they might sell this, to be honest with you.
Yeah. But yeah, no idea. Have you got any inklings on who you could expect to see in House of Black?
Brock Anderson.
Okay. How the fuck not?
When Arn fully turns on Cody, his son's going to join the House of Black.
No.
Arn is too, but not as a wrestler.
That's going to be the Brock and Glock connection. That's going to be.
Nice. So Arn's going to be there, and he's going to be like, "I'm not wearing a mask. I got a gun." And like, "Oh shit," So yeah. No, I don't know. I honestly think if anyone joins the House of Black, I don't think it's anyone who's currently on the roster. I think it'll be a mechanism for newer talent. Pretty much as you said, younger talent, but I think it'll be not just younger talent. I think it'll be talent that aren't even on the roster just yet.
Could even be a Bray Wyatt kind of character.
I don't know.
Cult of
Could that work?
Probably not.
Like two big personalities like that.
Who knows? Who knows? So the next one's talk about Keith Lee being flapping his gums. So on his birthday, tweeted out a little tweet there saying that it's laughable that people think WWE paid my medical bills. So he's basically of the opinion that I think he was also quoted as saying he has paid all medical bills from the many offices and machines that he frequented when he was away for around 6 months earlier in the year. WWE didn't like this, took a bit of umbrage to it. They released a formal statement that said Keith Lee's recent comments implying WWE failed to pay his medical bills are erroneous. The erroneous one, Keith Lee. WWE has an extensive healthcare program for the medical care of its in-ring performers, and Mr. Lee was part of this program while at the company. Should Mr. Lee have any concerns over the payment of medical bills, he is welcome to address them with WWE. So yeah, it's kind of like I paid all my own medical bills in WWE. Like, no, you didn't. And he's like, yeah, I did. Like, no, I didn't. So
Love the level of maturity this is all handled with from both the massive company and the massive dude.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's one of them, isn't it? Like, he's obviously pissed off. I would be as well. And he probably did pay some bills, right? But, you know, do you not think, and this might be a bit of a, people might not like this as a comment because I know people love Keith Lee, and I have nothing against Keith Lee, but do you not think he sort of runs his mouth a bit too much on Twitter? Like when he was off sick at the time, and he's like, "I'm going to tell you my story. Eventually, I'm just going to keep tweeting, but I'm eventually going to tell you what's going on. And what's going on is, well, you'll find out soon." And then about 6 months later, it's like, I was sick, you know, and you're like, "Okay, cool. Thanks for the suspense."
Yeah.
And this is similar. It's like, are we just going to get like this sort of tweets from him on a regular basis until he's like? And I'm not trying to come at him, you know, like he's a talented guy. I really want to see him in. Well, pretty much anywhere, to be honest. I think he'd do well in AEW. Similarly, he'd be great for Impact, you know, that sort of thing. But I just stay off Twitter for a while, man.
Yeah, I think we joked because he tweeted at some point saying, "Oh, I should write a book," and we were like, "Fucking hell, it's going to be give George R.R. Martin a run for his money when that sees the light of fucking day." Jesus.
Yeah, I like that.
But yeah, it's one of them. I don't understand the whole back and forth. You know, someone's obviously. Well, I mean, maybe they're not making it up, but something's wires are being crossed here because if Keith Lee's like, I paid all my bills, and we're like, well, what did you do that for, dickhead? You're part of a program. Why didn't you just get us to pay? Then he just looks stupid. He's like, oh, sorry, I didn't know that. You know, WWE have basically come out very firmly and said, well, we haven't just gone, we're not paying your bills. Like, there's a thing there, so why didn't you use it then?
Yeah.
So he just looks like a bit of a prat.
You didn't ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they've almost put it across like it's like he's got. I had to use my own gym, and they're like, "Well, there's a gym right there. You could have." Like, I don't know. Yeah, strange, man. But I'm not trying to be on the side of WWE. I know they've been like what they've done with the talent in recent years has been just awful. And I know a lot of people even try and defend their positions, like, well, it's a company like any company, you know, they're entitled to make cuts, they're entitled to, and it's like, yeah, that's totally different though. Like that's totally different to a company going, oh, we're gonna have to make some people redundant. This is like, yeah, you know, I know you're super talented and we fucked you up, but yeah, bye. It's totally different with performers. But hey ho, in this case, it's hard to not understand their point.
You see, Keith, it's not impersonal. It's just for budgetary reasons. Oh, I said no $100 bills. Then they're having a money fight just there in the background. It's like,
nice.
Okay,
I like it. Record profits. Like, if we can make it so that it's only Roman, then we get all the money.
Genius.
Like, has to wrestle himself somehow.
Genius.
How are the Roman clones coming along? Anyway, so the next one, Carl. A little bit of gossip for you. Hey, Carl.
Sorry.
Did you come
before we move on?
No.
I don't think they would use. Don't think they would use clones. I think it would be more robots. Then they wouldn't have to pay. That's it. Roman robot. Yeah. Wasn't worth the big delay on what you were going to say, was it? But to me, I thought it was good.
I mean, it would have been nice half an hour ago, but it was still a good joke.
I was letting it marinate. I was thinking, can I improve this any further? Turns out I couldn't. So yeah, there you go. Oh no, it could be improved. Just I couldn't do.
Anyway, bit of gossip for you, Carl. Right? You know, lean in. Got something to tell you. Have you heard? Walter from WWE split up from his wife. You know. That's the kind of report we do on this show. Can you believe that?
Yeah. Need to be there.
Like a cup of tea,
a glass of Chardonnay. Just be like, well, I heard it was because of this. You'll never guess.
Anyway, the reason this is news is not because like, hey, they split up with this person, dating that person, and so on. The reason it's news is because apparently, his sort of marriage and his relationship was the reason that he was against going to the United States and preferred staying in Europe. So the suggestion that they've split up would suggest that Walter may be now willing to come to the United States on a more long-term basis. I know we've seen him on and off, you know. And WWE have been wanting this for a long time anyway. other little tidbit, and I think this is where the suggestions come from that they split up, that it was recently revealed he's actually dating a fellow WWE NXT UK superstar known as Ginny. Now, apologies, I don't really follow NXT UK, so I don't know who Ginny is, but she's an NXT UK star. So, so there you have it. That's where she's apparently posted on her Instagram of the two of them, so confirming their relationship, which also subsequently, by the seams of it, confirmed that he split from his wife.
That doesn't mean that. Hey, honey, just going out with Ginny. See you on the flip side.
We do spend a lot of time together. I'll see you later. Anyway, yeah. So again, not to be too gossipy, his relationship's his business. But the suggestion that we might get Walter on a more of a long-term basis in the US begs the question: are we going to see him on NXT 2.0? Is he going to be maybe a contender against the likes of Braun Breaker, that sort of thing, or are we going to see him rock up on SmackDown and be a new opponent, and by all accounts a big hype as an opponent for Roman Reigns?
Interesting.
And I'll be completely 100% honest, Carl. He's another one that people seem to love, and I just haven't seen enough of him to understand why. And that's no disrespect to him. I just haven't seen enough of him.
Yeah, I mean, I've not seen a lot of him. What I have seen, he has had like an absolute banger pretty much every time I've seen him, to be fair. But yeah, you know, they recently had him on the UK tour going up against Cesaro, so that could indicate that he would be main roster bound.
Main roster bound. I feel like there's some sort of country song we can put together there, Carl. Anyway, so speculation: could Walter be heading to the US, and could he be heading to SmackDown? Who knows? Who knows?
Driving straight on at NXT Junction. Main roster bound.
To SmackDown. I think I'm going into Christmas music now, but whatever.
Like a bridge over troubled water.
See, that was good. And it was like timely.
Anywho. So, let me talk to you about Chelsea Green.
Okay.
So, word on the grapevine. Is she going to AEW? What?
What makes you think that?
So, she was quoted as saying, on her own podcast, I believe.
It wasn't even a Dave special. This could be true.
In fact, let me read the article instead of just making it up. No, she spoke with Samira K in a WrestlingNews.co exclusive. And basically, she was asked about promotions that she wants to work for, and she said, I guess the one promotion that I haven't gone to is AEW. It's not like crazy to say. I've done everything else, but I have yet to step in the official AEW ring. I was at All In, the only females match on the card, but I think it's time to explore that option. Something I haven't explored for the past kind of 6 months, and who knows, maybe 2022 is my year. So, yeah, interesting. She also said that she is close to getting a green card because, her wedding is due. Clearly marrying for love. That was a terrible, terrible, nasty thing to say. But yeah, so who knows? She has also posted on her Twitter of her January availability, the 14th to the 16th and the 28th to the 30th. So she does have availability there. Maybe AEW will fill it. Who knows? So, yeah, would you like to see Chelsea Green in AEW?
Honestly, I'm not asked.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Like, she seems like she's talented, right? And again, I know some people love her, and I get that, right? But, we are guys who predominantly watch WWE and AEW. Like, we try and keep up with some other independent stuff, but there's a lot of wrestling out there. So what I've seen of it was the person who was sort of on NXT, then went to SmackDown and got sacked. I'm not particularly, and this isn't any disrespect to her, I'm just not particularly hyped about her because I'm not, I don't know, is she good? I
think, I don't mean this in like a terrible way or anything like that, but she's never had the opportunity to show that because she gets fucking injured every 2 minutes.
Well, I mean, she had a lot of back and forth with that wrist thing, didn't she? Injured quite a lot with that. She even injured herself after leaving SmackDown.
Oh yeah, it's been injured like 2 or 3 times since. So she's clearly got like a wrist issue. But yeah, I mean, what I've seen of her, I saw her debut on Impact as like the hot mess, I thought that was quite cool, but she doesn't seem to have carried that on properly from what I've seen. And now she just seems to be rocking up with Matt Cardona and just helping him win matches or getting involved and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know, to be fair. Like, to your point, I'm not like, oh my God, clamouring for it. Like, if she's there, cool, but I don't want it to be like a champion or nothing like that. I think they've already got an incredible women's division, so...
Yeah, I'm willing to see what she brings to the table. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, I'm not bothered whether she turns up to AEW. Like, honestly, not that. No, not really. I'd be more hyped about Matt Cardona, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I mean, I'd be interested in seeing some of the matchups, like obviously her versus Britt, her versus Ty Conti, Anna Jay, people like that. Like,
you forgot Thunder Rosa.
Well, I don't know. I don't know whether I'm a big fan of like stylistic matchups. I'm not sure whether that
Thunder
would work.
should fight everyone.
Even you. Ah, she's behind the couch. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm a bit on the fence with it, to be fair. Like, yeah, it helps the AEW women's roster, I suppose, but I don't know. I feel like they've got enough going on, and they've worked hard to build enough already. That
I agree.
Does she need to come in and win stuff and things? Maybe not.
Win stuff and things.
Win stuff and
maybe. Maybe. So, Carl, my next one, and just because we live ever in the speculation, is this a work? Is this a shoot? Are you shooting yourself to work? We don't know, right? But largely, this seems like a work at this point. Well, we're talking about it anyway. I don't care. So Charlotte this week came out and cut a promo, and that's the bit that was probably most definitely a work, right? She cut a promo on SmackDown. I think we both alluded to it. This is where we got those cringe lines from. But amongst the promo, she actually mentioned that there's nothing natural about you. This is referring to Becky Lynch, obviously, and you're just a fabricated champion, which is funny because I actually totally agree with that statement. But this led to a response from Becky Lynch on Twitter, which had her laughing at the comments saying, "Did Charlotte just say that there's nothing natural about me?" That's brilliant. So obviously alluding to Charlotte's multiple surgeries, which, I mean, has she had that much surgery? Because she still looks a bit like Ric Flair, so she can't have done that much to herself. You know what I'm saying? But obviously, like, this is clearly they are clearly going forward with this as a feud, and there's clearly a work in a lot of ways. But what do you make of this? Do you think they've sort of give each other the nod to go in on each other like this, or do you think they are genuinely sort of pissed off with each other, but they're doing this match anyway, kind of thing?
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because all the wrestling news outlets, with all them inside sources or whatever, seem to believe it's all true. Damn it, it's still real to me. Damn it. So they're all basically saying that Charlotte's been really difficult to work with everybody and stuff like that. I think there's been people making a load of mad comparisons of like Paige and Del Rio, and it's like, well, Charlotte and Andrade, and like he's kind of corrupted her or so. Like, people are weird.
He's known for his corruption, isn't he, Andrade?
Well, exactly. So yeah, I don't know. By all accounts, and I think Charlotte even said herself recently, like, the four of them, the four horsewomen have got an unspoken bond. They'll always be an important part of each other's lives. But, I think maybe they've kind of grown apart a little bit and go and doing their own thing a little bit. Like, if you think about it, Becky's gone off and become a mother and stuff. Really? So it's like they're already on slightly different paths. Like, Charlotte's not like a mother or anything yet. So
she's not exactly anti-Charlotte's by the seams of it, according to this program they're in anyway.
No. I mean, Becky's anti-Charlotte.
Hey.
See what I did there? Yeah, no, I don't know. I think as well, like, the amount of backlash that Becky kind of got for saying that as well. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many like white knights now, isn't there? Of people jumped on it straight away and like, oh, you can't say stuff about the fact she's had surgery, and you can't say, and it. Are people reading it like, she never said anything about surgery? She just said there's nothing real about me. How do we know she's not saying like, oh, she's just Ric Flair, but a female version?
See, this is what I love, like, because that is open to interpretation. Like you say, she is a product of nepotism, and Becky could have been alluding to that. But people have gone straight to the surgery because that's what their minds think.
Well, exactly.
And then they come at Becky for it, and it's like, but that's what you were thinking.
Yeah. So, I don't know. The whole thing's a bit mad. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. We're not going to get into this whole, people taking I don't understand how people can be offended about stuff that it's nothing to do with them. You know what I mean? Like, I've taken offense to this comment you've made about Charlotte Flair. who I don't know in any
Sadly,
real
though, like you say,
world
that the
capacity.
world consists of a ton of that when it's like, this offends me. And it's like, but you're not, it's not even relevant to you.
Yeah.
Like, is Charlotte offended? Because that should be the question. Like, if there's, like, not, it shouldn't be the question because it's all storyline, really. But, like, if Charlotte was genuinely offended or upset about it, then that'd be one thing, wouldn't it? But, like what's the rest of it matter?
Yeah.
I would actually be kind of annoyed if people were getting offended on my behalf.
Yeah, I would be.
Be like, isn't that, you kind of like taking my thing?
Mm.
But anyway, like you say,
So,
we won't delve down that rabbit hole.
no, we're not going to do that to ourselves. But yeah, so I don't know.
A2theK cancelled. Damn it, we were so close.
I know. But yeah, so it's a strange one. I don't know how much of it is, a shoot, how much of it is, a work. I legit don't know, because why would we? Because we don't know anything about them. But at the end of the day, they're going to be having a match real soon. Has it built up more interest and intrigue for that match? It certainly has.
Well,
So
I can tell you, Carl, I've been sat outside Becky's house for like a week or so now, and Charlotte's never turned up once, so I don't think they're friends.
Oh God, don't do that
I'm
again.
normal.
I'm happy there hasn't been any bloody stalker cases or anything so far in the last few months.
I know, right? Like,
Jesus.
Yeah. Weird place, the wrestling world.
Yeah.
And yet, for the sake of that was a joke. I don't know where she lives, and I'm not.
He's trying his best to find out, but he doesn't know yet.
Plus, would you mess with Seth? Get curb stomped everywhere? Nah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, it's a good point. So the next one, I think the last one. Let's talk about
the
this
last
week.
one. Well, other than the exciting news that we are now on PWTs.
So yeah, AEW stars apparently injured at Full Gear. So there was a convention taking place today in New York. So I think it was the big event convention. And originally scheduled to appear were both Eddie Kingston and Malachi Black. However, neither of them showed up for the event. It's believed the reasons they gave for no showing the event was they had suffered injuries at Full Gear the night before, and therefore they had to go and get them checked out.
I mean, it makes sense because like Malachi's eye looked pretty bad. Like,
I know his face was all bruised. It's weird. But no, so I think Kingston, the kind of the news about Eddie kind of broke first in terms of he'd done something to his shoulder. For Malachi, I don't think it's been confirmed yet as to what he potentially has done. I didn't notice anything in the match when I watched it.
No, like you can't notice any particular moment, can you? To be fair,
no. So it's a bit of an interesting one, but yeah, whether or not it's a load of BS, whether or not it is the truth or whatever. Hopefully, it's not too serious. Whatever is potentially causing them some issues at the moment, and hopefully we get to see them back soon because we don't want anybody to be on the sidelines injured because that's not nice for anyone. So yeah, speedy recovery to the pair of them. And yeah, Anthony, the final piece of news. Tell him again. Tell him the big piece of news.
I'll tell him, Carl. I'll tell him. A2theK have made it. That's a proper exaggeration. We made it, big league. No, we've now joined PW. We're incredibly proud of. A good company, obviously very well used by like legitimate wrestlers and stuff. So we're absolutely honoured to be on there with them. And check out some of our fun shirt designs. As mentioned, I think at the top of the show, we're going to mention at the bottom of the show as well. You can wear our faces. You can also wear some of our funny, hopefully cool, enjoyable t-shirts. But just check it out, and we're going to be adding more on there. So keep checking it out. Check it every day. Who knows?
And the thing is, we did it for you guys. We put this poll up on Instagram, many weeks ago, and said, where would you like to get our merch? And we gave a few different options. We had PWTs, we had Teespring, Wrestle Merch Central, we had a few others, and unanimously it was PWTs that got the vote. So we had to make sure that we were doing right by you guys, and so we got ourselves on there. So luckily we built up enough of a following and stuff to be able to be on there. And as Anthony said, I think it's
incredibly grateful to you guys for that too.
Yeah, so I think obviously that's a testament to the commitment we have, obviously, for anybody watching or listening to this now as well, is to make sure that we're doing right by you guys. But yeah, pretty cool. I think PWTs were there, and obviously Black Friday.
And this has been a PWTs.
Yeah, Black Friday coming up. I believe there's some pretty exciting deals. You might even be able to get 20% off some of our wonderful merch. So keep your eyes peeled for that in the next week or so. But yeah, that was the news.
That
was the news. And we are going to be talking all the fallout from Full Gear. And
up next, we're going to kick it into Full Gear.
Oh, yeah, we are. But yeah, so this is us signing off, and we will leave you with the wonderful Georgia Smith as we say goodbye.
Hey guys, it's Georgia Smith here, and you've heard me on A2theK. These guys are awesome. Check it out. A2theK.
A2theK.